What are you doing? Is it time for, like, fire safety tips or something?
In fact, it is. Today's fire safety tip is don't stand near a car that's on fire.
Okay. Why?
All right, I'm glad you asked. Because it turns out that some cars have a bumper attached to them by a shock absorber. And this is to, allow the bumper to absorb some of the hit when it bumps into something. And that in a car fire, that shock absorber can overheat and explode and send the bumper shooting out, potentially kneecapping anybody who's unfortunate enough to be standing in front of or behind the car on fire.
I sense a car fire in our near future.
I think it's definitely something we should test.
Okay.
Bumpers are designed to protect your car by absorbing some of the impact from a low-speed collision. But if your car's on fire, this myth contends that the gas-filled pistons can heat up to a point where the bumper becomes a deadly projectile, and its range is an incredible 50 feet.
As far as the methodology goes, I think it's pretty straightforward. We just go to a junkyard, we get some bumpers of the appropriate type, we subject them to some really high heat, and we test them.
Right, but since this whole thing is about what happens to these bumpers in a car fire, I think our very first step is to simply set a car on fire and take some measurements and readings to figure out what kind of temperatures we're actually talking about.
Agreed.
So the boys bowled up to the bomb range to set a car on fire. This is familiar MythBusters territory. So how hard can it be? Well, as hard as you want to make it.
We're all right.
What the hell are you doing?
Having some fun.
Jamie's idea of fun is likely different to yours, mine, and Adam's.
Remember, kids, you really can get in trouble with one of these things.
It's an apt start to a day that will not go quite to plan.
We have found some potential cases of this actually happening, that maybe bumpers shot off during car fires. And the researchers have found us a make and model similar to those in the reports that we have. So we're going to set this thing on fire, find out how hot a car fire actually gets, take temperature readings all around it, and if we're very lucky, maybe we'll get a bumper shooting off.
That would be a bonus. But remember, their primary purpose is to see just how hot a car fire gets. Fortunately, there's some adult supervision on hand.
Good morning. We got just a small car fire we're going to set and hopefully help ask you guys to put out.
No problem, sir.
Adam draws on boyhood skills to raise the car and strip the wheels in next to no time. Here in California, it's a crime to burn tires. For some reason, it's not a crime to wear a silver suit with suspenders. As Adam slips into something less comfortable, Jamie considers the finer details.
We're going to light the car on fire, and being as the engine has fuel, it has oil, it has plastic parts, it's got batteries with electricity, you've got all the elements you need to create an energetic fire. And that also happens to be the area around the bumper. So that's where we're going to focus our ignition, and we'll see what happens.
And just for good measure, when the car's ablaze, they'll get accurate temperature measurements by circling it with a thermal imaging camera.
That ought to do. What do you think?
Go for it.
This is fun.
But try as he might, Adam can't manage to set fire to the engine, even though it's swimming in gasoline. Making fire is something even cavemen mastered. But we've struggled with this before. Who could forget the shaky start to trailblazers?
It's hard stuff to light.
It only lights when it gets mystified.
This delayed ignition is risky business, and statistically, it's getting more perilous by the second. I mean, nothing's gone wrong for almost 40 minutes.
Whoa!
All right.
I'm okay.
You got a little bit of a haircut there, didn't you?
I got a little bit of a, not a haircut, I got a little bit of a hair on the back of my hand.
Considering the rough start, the car's quickly engulfed in flames.
It's all happening a lot faster than I thought it would.
That's one out-of-control car fire.
You were afraid that it was going to burn itself out.
As the wind shifts, Adam's forced to move the thermal camera 20 feet to the left. Any thoughts of circling the blaze are abandoned as the flames follow the smoke in an unpredictable arc.
Are you getting any kind of a reading yet?
Yeah, I'm actually getting, easily 1,000 degrees.
Okay.
1,050, 1,100. This is hot.
At this point, a bumper flying 50 feet would confirm the myth. The skipper and Gilligan could high-five each other, share a man hug, and head home. But it's just not that kind of a day.
Well, our pistons are still there.
The bumper is melted.
And that actually tells us something about what temperatures were achieved, because the bumpers are aluminum, and aluminum melts at around 660 Celsius.
Well, riddle me this, Batman. What's the melting point of glass? Look at that. I've never seen anything like that.
That's even hotter because that melts at around 1400 Celsius.
There's no doubt they had the heat, an impressive 1,400 degrees Celsius, and that's what they came here to measure. Still, the bumpers didn't go ballistic. Of course, they're designed not to, but there are those who swear they've seen this myth in action.
What this tells us is that this is a very, very specific set of circumstances that is required to make this happen.
I think now we got to go back to the shop, work on some individual shocks, heating them and seeing what kind of results we can get.
So how's your hand?
Hurts a little bit, but it'll be better by tomorrow.
Hey, you got another one.
I do.
Testing the myth of exploding bumpers, Adam and Jamie torched a car to see just how hot it burns, around 1,400 degrees Celsius.
Whoa!
The car fared much worse than Adam,
I'm totally all right. It just scared me.
but the bumpers failed to blast off.
Well, our pistons are still there.
The bumper is melted.
Time for a pit stop to pick up the parts they'll need.
Yep, this one's it.
Specifically, the kind of bumper shocks that supposedly launched the legend.
Like little rockets right there, huh?
Well, hopefully.
With enough spare parts for multiple tests, it's time for a closer look at those little rockets.
Well, this is our bumper, and these two cylindrical objects I'm holding on to are our potential culprits. These are part of the bumper system meant to eliminate or reduce damage to the car when you hit something at a low speed. And I think the way they work is you've got an internal sleeve and an external sleeve. And when you hit something at a slow speed, the internal sleeve moves slightly. It's pushing against some kind of gas, and that hopefully reduces damage to the car. But when you heat that gas that it's pushing against, it expands, causing this thing to fail catastrophically and maybe hurt some safety personnel in the vicinity. At least that's the theory. That's what we've got to test out.
They'll start the testing without the actual bumper, because these are the alleged culprits. Adam sets up the blast screen as Jamie spot welds a steel tube to a heavy stand. It should hold the shocks nice and snug and safe.
A car bumper would normally go on this end, and normally this part would be mounted on the front of a car. Now, this area right in here is a chamber that's filled with gas under pressure. So that's normally what absorbs the shock when you have a car accident. But in our case, we're going to bring this torch head in here and put heat to the bottom of this. And at a certain point, we suspect we're going to reach a critical kind of heat level where the gas pressure exceeds what this chamber will hold, and this shoots out this way at high velocity.
Adam attaches a thermocouple to monitor the surface temperature. And now for the heat source. Jamie lights an oxyacetylene torch, and they're good to go.
Moving it in.
All right. That looks good.
Try not to bump that.
Temperature's rising fast. 10 seconds in, we're at 50 degrees Celsius.
They don't expect this to get quite as hot as the car fire. After all, that was 1,400 degrees Celsius. The aim here is to see if directional heat works where an unfocused inferno failed.
Any predictions as to when it's going to blow? I'm guessing 620 degrees.
I don't know. All I do know is that right there is a pipe bomb.
It's at about 500 Fahrenheit, 295 Celsius.
You know, this is actually really scary.
I agree. Ho, ho, ho! Looks like we got some kind of failure.
9 minutes in, with the temperature just past 400 degrees, toxic smoke starts to billow from the piston. No one knows for sure what it is, but the noxious smell is enough to put the fear into everyone.
You gonna turn it off?
Yeah, it's just making a lot of smoke. I think we've lost pressure.
All right, let's all clear out of here and evacuate. This place
Yeah.
is getting toxic.
Who knows what that is?
Yeah.
When the smoke clears and the piston cools, they decide to do what maybe they should have done first off. Cut the darn thing in half to see how it works.
Oh, interesting.
There's an O-ring in there, actually.
Yeah, it's some melted plastic.
And that looks like that's a sealed plug. And on that end, that goes to, where's that hole go to?
I don't know. That's curious, isn't it?
So the pipe gets sliced into ever smaller pieces. But the boys remain almost as baffled as when they began.
That's the compression chamber.
So that goes there.
Maybe this thing moves?
They know that somewhere inside the inner tube is a fluid chamber, and somewhere else there's a compressed gas chamber. And that's what they're looking for.
Really get this at all.
Just as confusion hits critical mass,
So it looks like that is the gas chamber. So one way or another, that's where the heat has to go. We were heating it up at the other end.
Yeah. So we got to put the flame right on the end of this.
And hopefully it won't melt the seals.
Hopefully.
Test 2 proceeds with a more focused flame, hopefully raising the heat so fast that the gas explodes before the sealing ring melts and lets it dissipate disappointingly safely.
We're getting that back end as hot as possible, as fast as possible.
But these smoke signals are not sending a hopeful message.
Does that mean I'm burning a hole?
That means you burned a hole. 52 seconds. I'll bet that hole's part of the design process. I'll bet that's made to fail, just in that exact way.
This thing's made to not blow. How are we going to get it to blow?
Don't you hate it when something you've paid good money for won't break the way you want it to? As for blowing this thing the mythical 50 feet, 50 miles looks just as likely.
This is failing, but it's failing safely. We don't want a safe failure. We want a kaboom. We want this thing to become a projectile. So, next thing we're thinking of is putting heat right here at the neck, away from this safety release, away from this O-ring, away from this plastic, hopefully to get enough pressure in this gas chamber to cause the catastrophic failure we're looking for.
What we hope is that we can find a sweet spot for the flame to hit that won't melt seals, and yet we'll get a bang out of the result. Good metal?
That looks good.
Okay.
Okay.
Now it's getting it red hot there.
Yeah, that's really fast.
And a rapid heat spike might just do the trick. Then again, it might not.
Too much heat too quickly.
Too much heat too quickly.
This failure to launch becomes all the more frustrating when Adam and Jamie get new intelligence from the researchers. They found a real live person who's experienced a genuine exploding bumper event. Oakland firefighter Jennifer Schmid wasn't just a witness, she was a casualty.
Can you tell us what happened?
Sure. We got called one night for a vehicle fire in someone's driveway up next to a house. When we got there, the car was on fire, so I pulled the hose line around to the side of the car, the right side, and started to put the nozzle up under the wheel well to put the flames out. And that's when we heard the first of 2 explosions at that point. I thought initially that it was the right front tire that exploded because I've heard and seen that several times during car fires. And I moved in front of the car, and just as I opened the nozzle, we heard another explosion, and that's when something hit my legs, and I was knocked to the ground and started yelling for help. I had no idea what happened.
So it turned out to be the bumper that hit you.
Yes, and they brought the bumpers actually to the hospital to show me, so it was kind of scary to see that.
What were the extent of your injuries?
Well, the bumper hit both legs, but it only broke my left lower leg, and it broke both bones, the tibia and the fibula. The tibia was broken in about 20 pieces, so pretty significant.
But our myth from the fan site is a bit more extreme. There's no doubt that Jennifer was badly injured, but bits of this bumper flew 15 feet, not 50. Still, this first-hand account of Jen's trauma inspires Adam to rethink his methods.
But the difference between our setup and the real world is that that shock is usually mounted to a bumper, and the bumper in question is a massive piece of aluminum about 1/4 inch thick that is acting as a heat sink, i.e., it is pulling heat away from the end of that bumper, exactly where we're finding one of the most effective safety valves. So we're going to bolt back a piece of bumper onto that shock, heat it in the same place, and see if we get a different result. There you go, one big heat sink coming up.
And a finishing touch from Jamie.
This is perforated metal. I'm gonna, wire a couple of these pieces on there, and so hopefully this will spread the heat out to where we don't end up with a red hot molten area that will burst the chamber before it explodes the way we want it to.
So it's back behind the blast screen for the last time.
That's a lot of heat. Pretty quick, right? Does it look good?
It does look good.
That diffuser is getting red hot, but I don't think the rest of it is.
I hope this one works.
Me too.
These 1 in a million myths kick our ass every time.
And these two must have targets tattooed on their own rear bumpers. After 5 minutes,
Oh,
Where did that come from?
looks like it blew a hole in that front part.
Where it did before?
Yeah. Damn it.
I don't think we can do anything more with this.
it could take a lifetime of testing to replicate what must be a 1 in a million occurrence. And the boys might have better things to do with their twilight years.
I think we have to abandon it.
But if you think they're giving up before we see a bumper go ballistic, just remember, you're watching MythBusters.
One.
Back in the 1930s, there was nothing funnier than watching an automobile deconstruct after a minor collision. Okay, it's still funny.
I told you not to make that last payment.
But these days, we're less inclined to laugh at catastrophic car failure. Adam and Jamie have gone into meltdown trying to replicate the myth of the exploding bumper. Jennifer Schmid said the bumper that broke her leg traveled just 15 feet, but the myth we're working with says 50. So far, Adam and Jamie haven't managed to shoot a bumper 5 inches.
Damn it. Man, this one is kicking my butt. I mean, we are just not seeing any of the exploding bumper action we're trying to get out of these shocks.
Well, yeah, but it kind of makes sense. I mean, these things are designed to not fail catastrophically. Could be just a 1 in a million shot.
Just got to be in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time. We still have to get that shot. We still have to see a bumper shooting 50 feet through the air, so how do we get that?
When in doubt, C4. Well, maybe not C4, but you get the picture.
Yeah, I do.
So now, throwing caution and custom to the wind, they're engineering the spectacle we've all been begging for. Jamie cuts 2 massively upscaled pistons, and the plan here is to stuff them with sand, water, and explosives. The best venue in these situations, as always, is the bomb range.
Like a surgeon. Nicely done. We've got one main thing to do before we run this experiment, which is attach the bumper to the car. And it's got a little more support than your average bumper. These explosive pistons are about 14 inches deep, and I need to hog out enough of the car's structure to get this puppy in there to attach the bumpers.
Adam enthusiastically hogs out the front end, making room for Jamie's upscaled, hand-built pistons.
I think that's pretty much it.
Now for the explosive bit. To make it happen, we've re-enlisted the man who set a similar charge for motorcycle flip, pyrotechnician Matt Herron.
Boom.
Boom.
We're ramping it up, which is kind of what we do on this show. So in this case, what we're doing here is putting the same amount of gunpowder that we used just a little while ago on motorcycle flip to shoot a motorcycle that weighed 250 pounds or so straight up in the air.
Well, the timing was perfect.
If you say so, Junior. In this case, all we've got to do is launch about 50 or 75 pounds straight that way. So it's going. So what do you think? Charge in the end, sand the rest of the way?
Sounds like a plan, yeah.
Adam's plan is to place a mannequin exactly 50 feet in front of the car, just like the myth says.
Be cooperative, love.
For some reason, he's overcome by an urge to paint it red.
Well, that increases its visibility.
Meantime, Jamie's focused on the details of the detonation.
Now, instead of compressed gas, we're going to put some gunpowder and a bunch of wet sand in here.
Okay.
Why the wet sand? Well, if we just packed this with gunpowder, we'd have a pipe bomb. So the wet sand actually acts as a shock absorber for the gunpowder, and it translates that bang into forward movement.
Matt connects both charges to the same circuit,
This is my favorite part.
so the two shocks should blow simultaneously. Jamie lards up the cylinders to minimize the friction,
That ought to do it.
and the bumper gets refitted. Nice and tight.
It's good right there.
Perfect. What do you think?
I think we're gonna hit this guy. I think this thing's gonna fly 50 feet. I have a good feeling.
I think the bumper's going to stay still and the car's going to go up the hill.
You don't really think that?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So Matt sets the twin fuses,
We're fully armed?
We're hot.
and hopefully we're about to get the finish we've come to expect.
All right, simulated bumper blast in 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Damn.
Wow. We may have overdone that.
Overdone is a word we discourage here on MythBusters. The trajectory was perfect. The mannequin's a shattered wreck, and hey, we got what we came for.
Well, it definitely flew 50 feet.
Oh, look, it's up there on the hill.
Wow.
Looks like we're going to have to get another dummy. We go through these mannequins like candy.
They had to fudge the method, but now we have an insight into how unlikely a 50-foot blast must be. The bumper that smashed Jennifer's leg broke in 3 because the two shocks didn't explode in unison. We needed Matt's expertise and 2 plugs of gunpowder to make that happen. Still,
These red stripes right here, those are your kneecaps. Now, granted, we might have exaggerated a little bit with this, but we know that this did happen with a very similar device with a car fire. So if you see a car fire, you shouldn't stand around it. You might get hurt.
I'm pretty happy. We came here to make a bumper fly 50 feet, and we totally exceeded that. It's a good test.
hey, it's a great test, but simultaneous catastrophic failure and a 50-foot launch? No way in the wide world. This one's busted.